Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan, and today's video is going to be another edition of our off-season outlook series. We're just getting started with these as we begin the off-season. Super Bowl's in the books. Now all teams are focusing on the draft and the off-season and free agency. We're going to be focusing on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers off-season outlook in this video.
Yeah, and as Ryan said, we're going to be doing these for a lot of stuff. You just said You didn't start talking, so I figured that was my cue.
Let's not start the video like this.
We just started and we're already arguing. That's what I like to see. We haven't got heated in the video in a while. Maybe today will be the day. But let's start by addressing Jameis Winston. And now, Jordan, I'll pass it over to you because you love talking about Jameis Winston.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and all the talk about them, it all starts with Jameis Winston. He is the hot topic when you're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and rightfully so. What was it, like 30 touchdowns, 30 picks this season?
30 for 30.
30 for 30.
It's going to happen.
Talking about
documentary.
He's perfectly consistent with those, which I don't think you want to.
It's not something to be consistent with.
No. But, so, he is the main topic to talk about. We've talked about him in some other videos, so this might be some review if you've watched some of our other videos. If you have, thank you for doing that. But talking about Jameis Winston. So the thing with him is, it's obvious that he does have skill. He's thrown 30 touchdowns. He was the passing leader this year in the NFL. He did have some of the best wide receivers on his team, but he still did it, and a lot of times they were injured. He was still able to put up some good numbers. So on that side of it, he was good, but also there was just the picks and the turnovers, and it just didn't seem like he knows the game very well. He looked like he was sometimes he just like throw the ball up. He didn't know how to play it smart. Sometimes he didn't know that he could play it smart. And a lot of times he would just kind of say, "Ugh," and there's a bunch of memes where it's just like, "Here, throw it up," just like whatever it is. But so definitely this year we saw a lot of good from Jameis and a lot of bad as well.
Yeah, you're right about that, and I just think you kind of hit on this, but I just think he's just too reckless. It's obvious that there's physical talent there. He's got the arm strength, but he just does not have the decision-making, and it's reoccurring. Like, this isn't something that's just one bad game. This is, like, the turnovers, and it's fumbles, too, that he struggled with in the past, and we always knew that he had problems with turnovers coming into this year, but this year it was really bad, and truthfully, like, how good could you be? What is the ceiling if you're throwing that many interceptions? Look at this. Jameis Winston was a first overall pick back in 2015. During his tenure there, it's really been mediocrity at best. They haven't made the playoffs once, so they may have had gone 9-7 one year, but not that much winning. Typical 6-10 and 9-7 range. So they've kind of been stuck in this like mediocrity pool, like with some of those other teams that are like that, where they finish between 6-10 and 9-7 every year. But as we look into this offseason, which is this video, I think the Buccaneers, you don't necessarily have to get rid of Jameis Winston, but you just have to put in some competition at the quarterback position, because the way Jameis Winston is throwing interceptions, I think you have to do something.
Yeah, you definitely do have to do something, and for what he's asking for, he's
crazy.
Asking for $30 million. Ryan said you can't. He said this in another video, I believe. I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
as I watched it the second time, I actually got the joke, but he said you can't get $1 million for every pick that you throw because you threw 30 in the season. I thought that was funny, but yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Funny guy?
Jordan mentioned it as well, the passing leader in the NFL, but just not a good decision maker, and we've seen that countless times. Now, they could address this in many ways. They could go to free agency. Maybe get someone like Teddy Bridgewater. The rumors are there with Phillip Rivers going to the Buccaneers. He moved to Florida. Who knows? Maybe they even bring Ryan Tannehill back down to Florida and he plays with a different team. So in free agency, that could be places they go at the quarterback position.
Yep. And as we said at the beginning, Jameis is the hot topic of this. We could very likely come back to him as this video progresses. But there are more people on this team to talk about. I'm going to go to the wide receiver position real quick. I kind of said it before, but they have two of some of the best wide receivers in the league this year, in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They both had very good years. I believe they were both over 1,000 yards. And I think they actually both ended up getting hurt at one point. Don't know if Godwin did. I know Mike Evans was hurt for sure. But I'm pretty sure there was a game in London where Godwin was hurt, and then there was Rashad Perriman who was doing everything. I don't remember. But they do have some of
the picks.
Yeah.
That's typical.
Yeah, but especially in London.
He's just throwing the picks abroad. That's the only difference.
He's on tour.
Jameis on tour.
Yeah.
He gets
pick
some free
extravaganza.
Yeah.
Someone needs to make a like a picture of that.
Yeah,
like
that'd be a good
Photoshop something.
Yep.
It'd be pretty funny. If one of you guys knows Photoshop, we'd love to see it. But so they do have that wide receiver position covered up very well. They do have two tight ends that people were like looking at, especially when they first were on the team, and Cameron Brate and I'm blanking on the other one's name, but
Come on, you got it.
You can do it.
You got it.
now the pressure's on.
Yeah, pressure
We'll
is
come
on.
back to you.
Okay.
But yeah, Jordan addressed the offensive side of the ball, and we still haven't talked about their 14th overall pick. But before we do, it's very fair to mention Shaq Barrett in the year that he had with them. I think he had the most sacks in the league, if I'm correct. I could be wrong about that, but I know he had like 8 sacks in the first 4 weeks, which was just incredible. And that's going to be something that they're looking to build the foundation with their defense. But do you guys believe they'll go defense?
O.J. Howard.
There you go. Do you think they'll go defense with their 14th overall pick, or where do you think they go?
I think with that 14th pick, you do have to go defense. You know, the defensive line does show some promise, so maybe you go secondary at that 14th pick. Maybe get a guy like Christian Fulton, or if there's another secondary player that you're high on, or if they want to go safety with Grant Delpit or Xavier McKinney. I do think that 14th pick should be defense unless somehow Justin Herbert or another elite offensive player falls that far, which I don't think anyone will. I think that defense will likely have to be the need at that number 14 pick, because even on games where Jameis wasn't as reckless with the ball, they still were giving up a lot of points, even in some of their wins. You know, you look back to that game against the Rams that they won, they still gave up like 40 points or something. So defense, especially the back end, does need to be addressed in my opinion, and that 14th pick would be a great place to do it.
And I don't know much about their offensive line just because the Buccaneers are a team that we watch very much. So I don't know if they're good or not. If there is a good offensive line, then maybe they take them as well. But then again, I'd have to look at the Buccaneers more because just honestly, unless you're a Buccaneers fan, you probably didn't see much or any Buccaneers games unless, well, there was a Thursday night one against Carolina, and then there was the London one against
the Panthers.
Panthers.
There's also the Panthers. Yeah, they're both.
Yeah, they're both Panthers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we saw them against the Panthers both times, but there are a
Did we see
couple.
them against the Texans too.
That was a Saturday game.
Oh yeah, you're right. Threw
So we
picks
saw
in that
them
game
a
too.
little bit,
But there are places they could definitely go with this pick. You guys have mentioned it. Ryan talked about the defense. You guys haven't mentioned running back. They don't have to go with the 14th overall pick at the running back position, but they do need to address that somewhere in the draft, especially with the running back loaded draft. They're going to be able to, in the later rounds, maybe go and get someone. And who knows, maybe they go Justin Herbert with his first pick. I wouldn't necessarily agree with it and say it's a good idea. I think he'll be
there.
I don't know if he'll be there
I don't
at
think
the
he'll be
time,
there.
but we'll see what happens in the offseason, see what they decide to do with Jameis. We don't want to jump the boat and say that's where they're going to go with that pick. But I do think, I agree with Ryan, right now it's a safe pick to go with defense until we learn more about what they're going to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. And I just want you talked about the running backs. I just wanted to kind of say a few sentences about that. Not very much. It was
Only a few sentences. Okay?
Only a few sentences.
Only a few.
Okay. Just want to say that currently it's Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones who are the running backs.
The second.
And
you.
there are points where they do good, but they probably do want a number one guy. They don't want to just ride with some people who are inconsistent and sometimes one hell of a good game, and then sometimes they just will both suck or whatever. And it's usually the latter one. So they probably should try to find a running back somewhere at some point, just because they just really haven't had a really good running back in a long time. The last good one was Doug Martin when I think we had like
He had a good season.
an okay season. It was like 1,000 or 800 season. I don't know what it was, but I think there was actually in a video I had a question about Doug Martin in the last season that he was there. It was in a video that was very far back though. It might have been a check down challenge. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I got to say. My sentences are over.
Your sentences are done, and those were some good sentences because
thanks,
they do
man.
really need to find that number one guy.
Thank
This
you.
is a very deep running back class. I feel like we say that every year, but I really do believe that it is. And also, I think that with quarterback in the draft, unless there's an absolute steal about like one of those top three quarterbacks available at number 14 overall, I don't think Tampa goes quarterback first round. And I feel like second round, because if you take a quarterback in the second round, I feel like there's a little less pressure. Because if you take a quarterback in the first round, everyone expects, wait, that's the guy. But if you take someone in the second round, people have a little more patience. There's not as much media buzz. And then you can still generate that competition in training camp knowing that you have, it wouldn't be absurd to have a second round pick be your backup. But if you take a guy like super high in the draft, you say, oh yeah, we're going to let him sit, he's just going to be QB2 for the foreseeable future, then there's going to be some frustration. But if you wait to the second round or third round, get a guy like Jake Fromm, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love maybe if he falls to the second round, then maybe there's a little less pressure rather than if you take Justin Herbert, a guy who people are going to want to see day one.
I could definitely see that happening, and like you said, I think it's a good idea because, especially for the Bruce Arians offense, maybe go out and get someone that has been in an air raid offense in college. We've seen that a lot now because that's kind of what Bruce Arians does. He's not afraid to throw the ball. Someone similar to Gardner Minshew coming out of last year's draft in the later rounds from Mississippi State, of course.
Come on.
Of course.
That was disappointing.
You know what I meant. Now, I was thinking about Mike Leach.
Okay, that was a fair mistake.
So,
I'm disappointed.
But Mike Leach at Mississippi State, but you know what I meant.
Yeah.
Do they?
Well, I don't know. Let's see if they know Gardner Minshew. But now, Mike Leach at Mississippi State. I was thinking about KJ Costello at Mississippi State.
What does KJ Costello have to do with anything? I mean,
he's at Mississippi State.
Okay. Right transfer.
Yes, it's a good idea. But go out and get someone that's been with the Mike Leach offense and see how that goes. Anyone else got anything to share?
I believe Anthony Gordon, the Washington State quarterback from this year, I believe he's draft eligible this year.
Yeah, he
was
is.
in that offense. So maybe that'd probably later rounds, but still something to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. And one more thing to mention, actually, I believe Shaq Barrett is a free agent.
Oh, that's big.
So they can't go out and sign both Jameis Winston and Shaq Barrett because
maybe they could franchise tag Jameis.
They
Winston.
could.
I think Jameis should be thrilled with franchise tag. It's like $30 million a year. Jameis, stop.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun to see what they decide to do with those positions of need. But only the one first-round pick. This is the first team that we've talked about, with just the one. But it's still going to be interesting to see where they go because they definitely do have positions where you look at and you say, okay, they got to fix that.
Secondary comes to mind when you say that.
Mm-hmm. And this is kind of off topic of what we were just saying. It's kind of another point that I had to make. But Bruce Arians, obviously the head coach of the Buccaneers, and his offense is more of a pass-style offense. There is some run in there as well, but it is more of a pass-style offense. So with Jameis or whoever it is there, they want to have complete trust in that guy because they expect some deep passing, whatever it is. That's just the way that Bruce Arians has always done it, and he's done it pretty well. So if they don't completely trust in Jameis Winston, they could easily just say bye-bye to you. We don't want you here. We don't want to pay you this much money. Let's have another team do it and then see how that goes for you. Good luck. That's personally, and I believe that Bruce Arians said it. Yeah. I don't know if we talked about this or not, but
he did. Say what he said. Though.
Say what he said though. Say what he said though.
He said that their offense could go without Jameis Winston. It was something along those lines. Ryan, do you know that?
Well, no, I was just going to paraphrase it, but yeah, you're right.
He said that they can easily make their team run without Jameis Winston. They don't need him there. They know what offense they want. They've already started their process of getting guys there. I guess Bruce Arians liked what he saw this year. So it should be interesting to see what they do. They are in a tough division sometimes with the Saints, who seem to be always dominant recently. We'll see what happens with Drew Brees with them, which could be a next video we could do. We could go. But anyways, I'm trying to discuss video topics as I'm sitting here with these guys right now. We don't need to be doing that. They're in a division with the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Saints.
There you
I
go.
said Saints.
That's
I wasn't done talking.
Oh.
okay. Now the argument at the end of the video.
So I said the Saints have been dominant all the time, and then the Panthers are kind of in a rebuild as well, and the Falcons. Who knows what's going to happen with the Falcons? They could be really good, or they could just be really bad.
They'll always look good on paper. Start 4-1, and then go like 6-10.
Yeah. So they are in a interesting division that could go a lot of different ways next year. So I thought that would just be something to say, as all teams are in some sort of either rebuild or controversy stage, especially in the offseason, trying to figure out what they do. Some teams in the offseason are just boring. They're like, all right, we don't have many free agents that are on our team. We could just sit back. We like our team. But what are you doing?
Keep going.
What were you doing with your
He wasn't done talking. Come on.
Seriously. But all four teams in this division seem to be in some sort of rebuild or trying to need to have a good free agency period.
Yeah. Sorry to anyone who's a fan of Gardner Minshew or Washington State that I forgot about your team and Mike Leach, but right now I'm looking at a picture of him to show some respect. But
And
as
you were
far
also doing some weird finger motion while you were looking at.
that was your cue to hurry up.
I could talk however long I want to, boy.
Hurry up, Austin. Okay.
All right.
Video's not that long.
Let's just conclude this video before we
It's
get
Thank you
actually
guys.
usually shorter than our other videos.
Thank you guys. Not the other Aussie Outlook ones, but it doesn't really make a difference. Thank you guys for
Yeah, it
watching this
doesn't.
video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below. We really do enjoy comments, and you'll get a response
We
if
do
you
really
comment.
do that. We do love
Yeah,
it.
we do.
Every time we see one, every time we see a comment or a subscription, we all tell each other.
Yep.
It's a fun
I
little.
tell you guys usually.
Well, yeah, because you're the one who has.
Because you run the channel. I mean, the YouTube portion,
yeah, you don't see it
I'm
right
just-
away.
yeah,
You
I know.
probably get you notifications or whatever.
No, I just look at it like 5 times a day at least. Or more than that. Alright, thank you guys for watching this video. Do everything I said. And with that, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.